NJ Free, the Enlightened Perspective, United Intellectual Consortium. I'm hoping everyone is having a wonderful and blessed morning thus far. Hope all things are going according to plan. And if not, remember, only you can change your perspective to change the outcome of the things as they appear to you now. A lot's going on around us right now. So just thought it was very pertinent to continue on this information. I've shared quite a bit in regards to the North Korea and the World War III threats that are going on. I think that this is so important that we need to pay attention, because there is a strategy or a strategic implementation of plans that are being produced behind the scenes that we are completely unaware of. What's going on with North Korea and the United States? I'm hearing so many different discussions and conversations. I'm hearing people say that, well, North Korea isn't a real threat because their weaponry is out of date and it's old. I'm hearing people say they're not a threat just simply because we're America, and everyone knows the the power and the arsenal of weaponry that we have. Others are saying that it's just conspiracy theory, propaganda, media. Nothing is actually serious. It's not real. We can disregard it. So we're hearing all of these conversations that are going on around us, but yet nobody is really being serious and paying attention. And I'm very serious. I'm a person who pays attention to what's going on. So I see clearly. I've been talking about these things for quite a while, for some years now, that everything that has been going on has merely been distractions and have been steps in the process of a plan for a new world order, a one world government. Now, many people hear about this, but we continue to sweep it under the rug as conspiracy theory. You know what I'm saying? And so this is what we're saying is, when you look at the temperature and the atmosphere of the environment in which we exist now, this is stuff that is right in front of us. But because it's been disregarded and it's been swept under the rug as conspiracy theory and propaganda for so long, that even now when you flick on your news and you hear North Korea issuing threats to the United States, Donald Trump issuing threats to North Korea, even when we hear this talk back and forth, we change the channel and go right on over to the View or the Talk, or Love and Hip Hop, or we trying to find out what's going on with Usher Raymond having herpes, and what's the latest with the Colin Kaepernick protest, and what's my main man doing on the NFL team, how my fantasy, we got all of these different distractions that are going on, and we aren't even paying attention to the real information in front of us. There was a time when real news was hidden from us, and it still is to an extent, but because of the time we're in now, they're putting stuff blatantly right in front of us, and we just completely disregarding it. And so this is major importance, people, that we real deal focus on the events that are at hand, because while you're making plans and preparations for next month, next year, next week, tomorrow is not promised. The next hour is not promised. And I say that not to strike fear in the hearts of the people, but I say that as a person who is aware and enlightened perspective. I have been talking about these events and these occurrences for the last several years. And so, 3-4 years ago, when I started talking about the New World Order agenda, of course, people said I was crazy 4 years ago. But look where we are right now today. And so now, with all of the violence that has occurred, not just here domestically on our soil in the States, but also globally and internationally around the world, when we can look at the chain of events that have occurred, when we can look at the agenda, when we can look at the media protests, we can look at all of the events that are occurring, we can see that there's definitely leading up to a staged event. Everything is leading up to a particular event. As I stated before, Donald Trump, the name Trump itself is just like we're playing cards and boom, they just hit us with their Trump card. Literally the Trump card. That's why Donald Trump, an inexperienced politician who has no experience in public service, no experience in the political arena whatsoever. He's an imbecile and an idiot on top of that, but nevertheless he was appointed to the top position, you know what I'm saying, that the country holds, ultimately the world, because the United States is the power. And so ultimately, in a sense, to our understanding, Donald Trump is the most powerful man on the planet, in a sense, the POTUS. And with all of his ignorance, he was appointed to this position, not by the people. You see what I'm saying? Now, we have a group of people that are saying that there will be civil unrest if Trump is removed. But remember, there was a group of people that also protested for several days after his election. So that shows you that, you know, it wasn't necessarily the majority of the people. And we're all aware of this because we know about the electoral vote, as well as we even know the discrepancies that's going on in regards to emails in Russia, you know, and saying that his election was, you know, rigged in the beginning. So we understand this. So the point I'm making is he's only in the position because it was intended for him to be in the position for a strategic rule. You see what I'm saying? Now, I'm going to hit on some points talking about how this is strategy. Now, the reason this is important, before I even get into the video, I want to say a couple things. Remember now, this president, Trump, has issued threats to North Korea from day one. Now, this is what I'm telling you about the strategy and their propaganda when we want to say conspiracy theory, because I'm going to show you a video clip in a moment that'll show you that Donald Trump has actually been egging this on, or has had a desire or a pursuit for North Korea since 1999. So we have to understand that's almost 20 years ago. And this is way before there was any thought of him becoming president. But remember the Simpsons episode where it shows Donald Trump being elected president, the Simpsons episode that aired, I believe it was 2001 or 2002. I'm not sure the exact year, but I know it was a significant number of years prior to now. And so it clearly showed that there was some I guess you could say some form of conspiracy that was attached in there. As you can see, there are pictures that circulates that shows identical comparison of Donald Trump's actual election day, and it is identical to the cartoon picture of the Simpsons, you know, some 10 years ago or so. So this is where we talk about conspiracy theory, but people disregard. So when you look at the agenda of what's going on, as I'm going to show you now in the video, this is something that has been planned and prepared for quite a long time.
Trump has been saber-rattling over North Korea for the past week, warning that the United States would respond with fire and fury if provoked. He's been talking about North Korea for decades, and he's actually been pretty consistent the entire time. Now he seems to be taking his own advice. The big difference is now he's president of the United States, and real lives are at stake. Here's Trump in 1999 warning about North Korea.
North Korea is totally out of control, and would you rather have a very, very chat with them now, and if necessary, you might have to do something fairly drastic, or would you rather have to go after them in 5 years when they have more nuclear warheads and missiles than we do?
Fast forward several years. It's 2013. North Korea has nuclear weapons. Here's what Trump tweeted in April of that year when Barack Obama was president. Our president must be very careful with the 28-year-old whack job in North Korea. At some point, we may have to get very tough. Blatant threats. Just a week later, Trump said this, calling on Obama to take a more dominant stance. Where is the president? It is time for him to come on TV and show strength against the repeated threats from North Korea and others. Trump claimed that if he were president, North Korea would not be a problem. Once Trump became president, the stakes obviously became much higher, and he started blaming China for the problems with North Korea. North Korea is behaving very badly. They've been playing the United States for years. China has done little to help, and he warned that if China doesn't act, the US would. It's a statement that foreshadowed where we are today. North Korea is looking for trouble. If China decides to help, that would be great. If not, we will solve the problem without them. USA. And one last tweet from before he was president. Trump warned that Obama's actions could lead to World War III. Be prepared. There's a small chance that our horrendous leadership could unknowingly lead us into World War III. That didn't happen, and let's hope it never does.
So, again, just using video evidence to support what we're saying, you can see the strategy that has been carried out for quite some time. He started making comments about North Korea in '99, and it's 2017. And I say this because now we tie back into understanding Albert Pike and the message that he released in 1871, where he predicted the 3 world wars, and he said that each war would be implemented in order to bring about a certain change in policy and government as they press toward their agenda of one world order. And this was the reason for the world wars, so that they could, propagate or have things to fall into play as they need it. So, now we are in the form of one world currency. We're in the form of one world government. We have everything in play that they need. The UN is one world government. You know what I'm saying? The discussions for the one world currency has already been placed on the table. And so as everything is in order and they have everything set up in play, they're using us as idiots to push their agenda. See, this is all information that, although it appears that it's hidden or it's secret, but this is information that is readily available to us if we just click on the mouse and begin to search and dig in. If we go to the library and pick up some books and begin to read, some of the old literature and read old publications. A lot of these things can be found in old newspaper articles and magazine articles of the days back 40s, 50s, 60s or whatnot, when the information was fresh and currently being reported at that time, and then before it got swept under the rug. And so now we live in the information age when all of this stuff is readily available to us. We can find out whatever we want to know just by simply the click of a button. But they keep us distracted, and so nobody wants to know. We cut on this CNN and we see Donald Trump issues a threat to North Korea. Is World War III imminent? And we'll read that, and then we'll say, oh my God. And then we'll cut on Jimmy Kimmel, and Jimmy Kimmel will crack a joke about it, and we'll laugh with Jimmy Kimmel, and then we'll go on about our business and wake up the next day like everything's normal. And see, this is how they keep us distracted, ignorant, and fooled. And so this is what happens until the day that I wake up and all of a sudden chaos happens around me. So the best way to be prepared is to be aware. You know what I'm saying? And that's where we say we have to seek knowledge, because knowledge brings understanding, and with understanding comes truth, and the truth is what eventually sets us free. And so as we continue to follow the lies and the propaganda that has been perpetuated down to us by our governments, you know what I'm saying? We now sit here on the brink of a world war. And this is why I'm bringing it up to us, because it is inevitable.